guys? Welcome back to another Three Guys in the Basement. -2 this time. I am flying super solo dolo on this podcast. Mickey has been murdered. Sad to say. It was a beautiful funeral. If you didn't know, Mickey's a secret agent, and we lost him in the field of battle. But hopefully he can be resurrected very soon, and we can get back to the dualness of our podcast. But yeah, I'm going to be covering episode 5 and 6 of True Detective, and then after that, I don't know, might cut it off there. Don't want it to be too short. We'll see. But I can't really vibe with someone, so we'll see how it goes. But starting off with episode 5, this is going to be full spoilers. So if you have not seen episode 5 or 6, make sure to, if you don't want to hear it, just skip this podcast until you watch it yourself. And then come back and check this podcast out. If you have seen episode 5 but haven't seen episode 6 yet, you can listen on till episode 5. And I will let you know when I'm starting episode 6, and I'll give you a warning. You can go check out episode 6, come back, and listen to my thoughts. But, yeah, episode 5. So it starts off with the aftermath of the last episode, of the craziness, the shootout. And it's really crazy. I really enjoyed it, the aftermath. I like how it was sped up. And there's been a lot of time after it. I really didn't see that coming. I really thought it was just going to continue right after. They showed a scene where it's continued right after. Like, just the dead bodies all over the place. People are talking about it on the news and stuff. And then, bam. I believe it was like 7 months after. And what I like is it shows Vince Vaughn struggling. He has to move. He's just struggling because the guy that stole his money, that was murdered, they're saying that the people in the shootout were the ones that killed him. So he's kind of stuck because he can't really get his money because the police have stopped investigating who did it. And without having the police investigate, Colin Farrell can't tell him what's going on, can't give him the tips and that. So he's struggling right now. We learn that Colin Farrell has quit, and it seems like he is gone full corrupt. He says he's working for a detective agency, but he's actually working for Vince Vaughn, doing jobs for him, being very corrupt. I really enjoyed the scene that they showed McAdams in, where she was dealing with the sexual harassment therapy, group therapy thing. I don't know exactly what you call it. I forget the word for it. That might be right, but I feel like there's a different word for it. But basically these guys are just like, they're being typical stereotypical guys, just like, this girl just doesn't like me to look at her boobs, blah blah blah. But why are you here? To Rachel McAdams' character, you're a female. Who would be mad at you sexually harassing them? And then she just basically, to keep it PG, she basically said she enjoys the company of men who are well endowed. That is a perfect way of putting it. Men who are well endowed, as a joke, to get these cops all riled up because they're little horn dogs. And it's just funny to see her mess with them. From what we've seen with Taylor Kitsch, it was just him dealing with the lawsuit with the girl who tried to say he would try to get her to... She said that he said she didn't have to have a ticket or get arrested if if she gave him some sexual favors, when really she just said, hey, I will give you sexual favors if you don't give me a ticket or don't arrest me. So that kind of sucks for him that he's dealing with that, and he's still dealing with that. But honestly, I honestly don't care. I like Taylor Kitsch's characters, aspects of his character I really like, but this is just part I don't care. I just think they kind of brushed it off to the side and then have brought it back, and it's just like, I don't know, I don't like that. Two guys come in to Vince Vaughn's club, and they're like, hey, this wasn't your club. This used to be this guy's club. We dealt with him. He helped us out. And we know that you took care of him. So now you have to make the same deal with us. Vince Vaughn starts fire. That's what I want to call it. He starts fire. And he basically tells these guys to go F themselves and tells them to head out the front door. So you know that is going to come back and it's going to be sticky. Now, we see Vince Vaughn's character, he's really becoming ruthless. The whole scene with the mayor and that, and he's racist to the mayor's Chinese helper. I think he said he wasn't Chinese. I think Vince Vaughn made a racist Chinese term, and he said, I'm not Chinese, or something. I don't remember exactly. I just remember he was really ruthless and racist to the guy, and he just seems really more ruthless, and he doesn't give a shit anymore, and I love that. Obviously, racism is not a good thing, but I love Vince Vaughn's character being ruthless. Now, the whole Colin Farrell, his son, they're forcing him to get a paternity test. He is only allowed to see him under supervised visitation. I really don't like, I think it's good for the story, but I don't like this. Like, if this were in real life and Colin Farrell, or like his character, blah, 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 took care of the kid, the mom left for months and then came back, I don't see how a judge would rule that the mom would get visitation, like the mom would get custody. Obviously, the paternity test, is he the real father? That comes into play. But it's like she left and he was the one taking care of the kid. How can she just take the kid from him? I don't get that. I don't think that would happen in reality. But I think it's a good story. So it's a pro and a con. Every time Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn's character gets together and they're talking, there's tension. It's intense. Even if they're on good terms, they're discussing, all right, I need you to do this, okay, I'm cool with that, blah, blah, blah. It just seems like there's an intensity, and it seems like they're going to butt heads eventually, and they're going to clash, and it's going to be very entertaining. And it was every scene, like, there's scenes, like, there's going to be some scenes that I skip over in this overview of this episode, and that's just because it's more that I got into the episode, and I have a neutral feeling. Like, if I get into it and I'm just like, oh, that's really awesome, then I wrote notes for this one. Normally I don't write notes because I just go back and forth with Mickey, but seeing as I'm watching this and then watching the next episode, and I'm doing this by myself, I wrote notes for this one. And there's going to be some scenes that I don't talk about just because Just, it was neutral. It wasn't anything special. I didn't like it. Didn't dislike it. But yeah, the scenes with Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn just seem very well acted to me. It just above and beyond acted. I really like Vince Vaughn's dry humor he brings to this show. It actually kind of seemed, I don't know if it's kind of like his humor, but I don't know, with his this character just evolving the way it has. Sorry, I gotta keep hydrated. I'm just gonna keep talking. But it seems like it's a different type of humor. It's very dry, and I really like it. And I love how his struggling and him falling apart the way he is, his paranoia, and just, I need to follow this guy, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, what? Who do I trust? Oh, I can't trust him, blah, blah. He's so paranoid, and it's so entertaining. Now, the scene with Taylor Kitsch and his mom, it's the second time we've seen his mom, and I absolutely do not like that character of Taylor Kitsch's mom. Nothing against the actress, I just don't like the character. She's off-putting, she's creepy. Like the first time we seen her, it was like a weird crossing the line of incestuous. And now he's talking to her, and she's in her bra, bra and panties, and that's all she's in, and it's really awkward. It's like, put some clothes on. You're talking to your son. But then they get into a heated argument because she stole his money. And, like, basically she's just like, oh, I know, he tells her he's getting married. She's having a kid, the girlfriend that he's with. And then she's just like, I don't care. You shouldn't be getting married. You shouldn't have kids. Blah, 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 blah. Your life will be so much better without them. Which, telling that to your son is a really shitty thing. That was kind of a neutral thing for me. But I love the passion and the acting done by Taylor Kitsch in this scene when he gets intense with his mom. He's getting intense, it's building up, and then the mom says something that we've all been waiting to be said. It's been hinted at. It all kind of almost was said by the guy that Taylor Kitsch hooked up with when he got drunk. But the mom just comes out and says it. She didn't say, like, I know you're gay. But she's like, I know what you did with all your guy friends, and I know that you like guys. She says that, but doesn't say it. She basically says it, and that was it for him. I really thought he was going to hit her, kill her, something. It was just a great job of acting from Taylor Kitsch. The passion he showed. Phenomenal. Now, Vince Vaughn's intellectual approach to being crooked. That's what I have written down, and I know some of these things, like, I have to say it out loud to remember. But yeah, I remember. Just the way his girlfriend and him are talking for the first time this whole episode, and the way they're talking, she's talking about how she can't get pregnant and stuff, and basically he's saying, like, I'm doing this so we can have a family and we can have this. It's like, and he's being very intellectual about it. The words that he's using, it's like how do I put it? It's like his way of covering up what he's doing is bad. He's making what the bad stuff he's doing seem good. And I really like that. I like the scene where Rachel McAdams and Colin Farrell's characters catch up. It's really nice to see them catching up. Right at the end, Colin Farrell says, thanks for calling me. So McAdams contacted Farrell, and he has a little flirt in there at the end, and you see the waitress girl at the bar that Colin Farrell goes to, who always flirts with Colin Farrell. You see that she sees them kind of, he sees that Farrell likes McAdams, and she doesn't look too happy. So that's going to be interesting to see if anything comes of that. And then we get a Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams, Taylor Kitsch team up. They're working together, and they're going to investigate the case of Casper. I know how that's funny. I remembered his name. I was like, it has something to do with Ghost, Casper. So that's how I remember his name. But yeah, finding out who killed Casper, what the people in the shootout were involved, and they're working under. I don't remember. I think it was Rachel McAdams, lead detective. They're working under her, I believe. I'm not 100%. And next thing I wrote down for the next scene was Colin Farrell beat down. He beat the shit. Sorry, try not to swear. He beat up the doctor from couple episodes ago, I believe. I don't remember exactly when they showed him, but he's been in the show before, the doctor who performed plastic surgeries and stuff, and he just beat the crap out of him. And I love when he's finally just like stopped because the doctor's actually telling him what he wants to hear, and the doctor goes to talk again, and then he loses like 5 or 6 teeth. Like, that is just awesome. Like, he's already been beat up. It's been, like, a good minute and a half since he's last been hit, and then his teeth fell out. It's just, like, I don't know. I just felt that was really cool. And then we don't know what happens. Colin Farrell, it looks like, either beat him some more or killed him. We don't know. And then we find out that the person who raped Colin Farrell's ex-wife was found, and he's alive. So that's really interesting, because they're making it sound like Colin Farrell never killed the rapist, but the way Colin Farrell's character is reacting to it, I think he killed the wrong guy. I think the story he told his ex-wife was true, and I think he killed the wrong guy. And that is going to be really interesting to see how that comes up. It was nice to see Vince Vaughn get some sort of good in this episode by him reconnecting with his girlfriend, saying that, you know what, we can just adopt. I was adopted. I believe she was adopted too. I don't think they've come out and said that yet, but just from wording, I've heard her character say, I believe she was adopted too. So they just know what it's like to be adopted, so they can be good parents to an adopted kid. They have intercourse, and they're happy, and that's good to see. And then we go to a very season 1-esque dark scene where Taylor Kitsch and Rachel McAdams are investigating a house. Rachel McAdams sees some vultures circling, which usually means a dead body. They go, and there's a little shack, and they open, and it's a dark torture room. It's very, very dark, not in the sense of lighting, in the sense of ambiance. It is covered in blood everywhere. You see where someone was taped up, and it's scary. It is very disturbing. And then we see, as after Vince Vaughn's character and his girlfriend have had intercourse, they're talking about adoption, blah 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 blah, and then loud knock at the door. Vince Vaughn gets up. The guy just keeps knocking really hard, just loud knocking. And Vince Vaughn just gets mad. He's like, I'm coming. Oh, he swears. He grabs his gun just in case, it's someone that's coming to kill him or something. Those two guys from the earlier part of the episode. And he opens the door and it's Colin Farrell. And he says, are you alone? Vince Vaughn says, yeah. What's up? And he just says, we need to talk. And they look at each other like shit is about to go down. It is so intense. It's so tense. And I love it. I love that ending. Overall, it was a very good episode. I just had some problems with Taylor Kitsch's lawsuit, Taylor Kitsch's mom's character. I actually really like Taylor Kitsch's character, but there's just aspects to his story that I just don't like. So I gave the episode a 7.5. I think it was a very good episode. And that's all I gotta say about it. Now, what I want to see from here on out is Colin Farrell connect with his son. I really want to see more of that. I want to see McAdams be unleashed. I want to see Rachel McAdams just go ham and destroy someone, just go nuts and just be a badass. And now this is kind of on that line, but I don't want Rachel McAdams to kill anyone or anything, but I want Vince Vaughn to kill someone. I want him to snap and just brutally intense, cringe-worthy, can't look at the screen scene where he kills someone. I'm just waiting for that. I want them to delve in to Taylor Kitsch's character's homosexuality. I want to see that. I want to see more from that. They hint. But this season's winding down. This season's only 8 or 9 episodes, I believe. This is episode 5. They need to come out and say he's gay. And it just affect his relationship with that girl. Obviously, it won't be his girlfriend, wife, fiance for long. How is that going to affect him as a dad? How is that going to affect... It's going to be crazy when they go into it. And I want to see, by the conclusion of this season, a Colin Farrell, Vince Vaughn face-off. That's what the ending hinted at, in my opinion. I might have read it wrong, but I think that they're coming into a face-off, and it is going to be intense. So yeah, I'm going to go watch episode 6, write some notes, and I'll be right back, guys. Alright, guys, and we are back. Just finished episode 6, so I'm going to talk about that. So if you guys haven't seen episode 6, this is going to be full spoilers, so if you don't want it to hear what's happened in episode 6 of True Detective, make sure to go watch it and then come back and check out the podcast. Now, intense opening. After that intense end of episode 5, Vince Vaughn and Colin Farrell, kind of a sort of a sit-off, kind of, as they sit across the table. They go back and forth. Vince Vaughn with a hand on his gun the whole time. And as we see later on, so does Colin Farrell. There's confirmation that Vince Vaughn gave Colin Farrell the wrong guy's name. Colin Farrell killed the wrong guy. They didn't really say in episode 5, like I said, what happened. Did Colin Farrell not do it? Did he kill the wrong guy? It seemed like Colin Farrell's reaction that he killed the wrong guy. He killed the wrong guy. Now, we don't know. They really didn't go one way or the other. Did Vince Vaughn con Colin Farrell? Make him kill a guy that Vince Vaughn already wanted killed just so he could use Colin Farrell? Or did Vince Vaughn really make a big mistake and gave him the wrong guy? We don't know. Personally, I think Vince Vaughn caught Colin Farrell, and it's gonna be crazy because those two are just clashing right now, and it's bubbling. We'll get to more of it later, but it's bubbling. And I wrote down, I hope it leads to a sticky ending between these two. This bubbling, it's gotta lead somewhere, and I can't wait to see where it leads. Now, the scene between Colin Farrell and the rapist, Colin Farrell finally gets to see the real person who raped his wife and ruined his life, and it is an incredible scene. Colin Farrell's intensity in this scene. The rapist he doesn't know what the hell is going on. Who is this guy? He keeps saying, "Who are you? I don't know you." And it was a really great scene. And then when Colin Farrell starts to depict the torture that he is going to put upon this guy if he gets out of jail, oh my god, that was intense. So then Taylor Kitsch is talking to this guy about these kids in that. He's got a story. He tells him the story about how when he was a cop, these kids just went through a lot of shit, and they went through the foster system. So it makes me kind of ponder, was the boy of the brother and sister, was that Vince Vaughn? Maybe that was Vince Vaughn? I don't know. And then we see Rachel McAdams talking to her, I believe it's her sister. If it is her sister, she looks really different from when they first showed her, when she was doing the webcam stuff. But I think it was her sister. I'm not 100% sure. But just that whole scene was awesome. Rachel McAdams doing the knife stuff. It was just so cool. They really got her trained for that, and she really did a great job. And Vince Vaughn going to the guy's house who died. I don't remember exactly who it was, but he went to his house, and the empathy shown by Vince Vaughn and the girlfriend in this scene was really touching. It was really well done. I really enjoyed that. What I said from the last, what I want to see Farrell connect with his son some more, and we've seen that. And it went, they kind of connected, blah, blah, blah. Went back to Vince Vaughn, and we've seen him being a father figure to the kid, hinting, they want to adopt, he wants to be a dad type thing, and he's just trying to make the kid feel better because his dad died. And then go back to Colin Farrell and his son, some bonding, but it's really awkward scene because of the supervisor being there, and it was a really good scene. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the awkwardness of just a father and a son that don't particularly get along. The father wants to get along with the son, he just doesn't know how, and just to make it worse, it is being supervised. And then we see Colin Farrell go on an alcohol and drug binge. Cocaine after he took a lot of cocaine. And he drank a lot, and it was destruction. And then we seen Colin Farrell broken. Amazing acting job by Colin Farrell in that scene. He was just broken. And then he calls up his wife and says, "You know what? I'd rather be known as a father and not see my son than to fight and lose and try and be my son's father when he finds out that I'm not his father." Because deep down, they all know the rapist is the father. Well, at least that's what they think. I don't know. He probably is the father, whatever. But, so they agreed to a deal that Colin Farrell will never see his son again as long as they don't do the paternity test, and she tells him that Colin Farrell's his dad, and she never tells him about the rapist. Very intense scene, and it's very hard for Colin Farrell to do that, his character. And I was very, very good because that whole situation, like I said in earlier with episode 5, it's not. I don't find it really realistic that she left, came back, and she just gets the son. But with that, the rapist, blah blah blah, paternity test is what is really her ammo, and it really is realistic, the choice that Colin Farrell has to make. The Vince Vaughn torture scene to get the location where he gets the guy to put the nails in the guy, that was a really cool scene. Really showed off some more intensity from Vince Vaughn's character. Rachel McAdams looked phenomenal in the wig. That's what I wrote down. She really pulled off that wig well. I think it actually looks better than her hair now. But whatever. And the intensity in that bus ride, just an intense vibe. Rachel McAdams trying to stay undercover. It was just an intense vibe. And I wrote down, when Vince Vaughn walks into the house, no one's there, and then they hear the guns, they turn around, and it's the guys from the last scene where he told to beat it. And I said Vince Vaughn started a fire, and I wrote down Vince Vaughn started the fire, and now it is ablaze. I knew something was going to come of it. I thought it might be they've done with this thing, this season, where they do something in an episode, 2 episodes later, they come back to it. That didn't happen this time. It stayed with it. Bam. Intensity. And then we go to the house that Rachel McAdams is at, posing undercover as a prostitute. I really liked the Colin Farrell and Taylor Kitsch, the way they took out that guy. Where Colin Farrell kind of distracted him. Taylor Kitsch, rear naked choked him out. And then when Rachel McAdams, they make her take drugs and they bring her out. They bring all the girls out. And you see all these disgusting rich old men just ogling them. Thinking them as just sex objects. It was really disgusting. But that was good because that's the whole point of the scene. You want to be disgusted by these old rich men. And they really had you disgusted. And then Vince Vaughn talks to someone who said a cop gave her Casper's stuff that the guy, I don't know if she was related to him or working for him, didn't kill Casper. A cop gave her Casper's stuff. So Vince Vaughn's like, all right, we got to meet. Going back and forth because she really doesn't want to meet, but reluctantly agrees because Vince Vaughn says you can bring protection and I'll give you $1,000. All you gotta do is I'm gonna show you some pictures. You point out who it was. I'm thinking it was Colin Farrell. That's what I was thinking, and I think it's gonna the bubbling between those two is just gonna explode after that. And then we see him and his goons walk up. It was just a cool vibe. And then the hope of finding Casper's killer, or at least just this is a huge break in the case, and it is gone. He sees her there, stabbed in the neck, dead. The Mexican guys who Vince Vaughn started the fire with, you see them wiping the knife that they used to kill her. They go back and forth. The Mexicans are basically you know what? You said you wanted to talk to her. You talked to her. She was working with cops. That's what they said, which is bullshit. She wasn't working with cops. She just took some money from a cop to sell some stuff. She wasn't working with cops at all. They just wanted to piss Vince Vaughn off and show him that they own him, not he owns them type of situation. And you could see Vince Vaughn hated it. He wanted to erupt, start a shootout, kill all of them. And it is going to be interesting to see Vince Vaughn versus the Mexicans. Vince Vaughn and his goons versus the Mexicans. It's going to be really awesome. Rachel McAdams on drugs, you see as it starts to affect her. Starts to get woozy and stuff. That was really cool to see. Then you see Colin Farrell and Taylor Kitsch breaking into the house, waiting for the guy to go. Taylor Kitsch breaks in, steals some information that we find out later in the episode, which I will get to. But it was a really cool scene. It reminded me of a video game mission break-in type thing, like a Hitman video game series break-in. Like, it actually kind of reminded me of the break-in from the Order 1886. It was a really cool scene, and I really enjoyed it. And then we see Rachel McAdams have a flashback, and it really explains a lot about her character. It showed she was raped as a kid. A guy just convinced her that he was going to help her find a unicorn, I believe he said. And she's reliving this scene as herself now. But it just is really dark. Really dark. And it just shows you why she is so sexual. She's not very sexual, but she is sexual in the fact that she's slept with a bunch of her partners, which she's gotten in trouble with. That thing where she was looking at the porn. Now that I think about it, this may just be her looking at the porn in a way of her just enjoying it. At first, like me and Mickey talked about when in the earlier episodes, we thought it was her looking for her sister, and we thought it was her watching her sister do porn, but they never showed the girl or anything. So now I'm starting to think maybe she just has this twisted sexualness to her because she was raped, and that happens. It's disgusting, it's horrible, it's tough, but I think that shaped her into this twisted sexualness deep down inside of her. And it shows why she's so against her sister doing prostitution and stuff, and she's so against prostitution and stuff like that, because I think deep down inside she thinks that prostitutes don't want to do this, they're just doing it for the money. So deep down it's like you are raping them for money. I think that is what I'm deducing from her character. Could be wrong. That's just how I feel about her character now that we know that she was raped as a kid. You see this scene where Taylor Kitsch is leaving the room with the evidence they got, and a guard almost catches him. Colin Farrell is just like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And the guy's kind of like, "Do I recognize you?" And then Colin Farrell just like murders the guy with the butt end of his gun. You see the blood spatter in Colin Farrell's face, and it was intense and it was awesome. And then just from here on out was an intense breakout scene. McAdams finds the girl they've been looking for, tries to escape the place with her. She runs into some difficulties, kills the guy that was going to have sex with her when he thought she was a prostitute. Then as a guard catches her, she almost gets killed by the guard, but she kills him. And they just have an awesome escape with the help of Taylor Kitsch bringing the girl because she is just so drugged up. And Colin Farrell as the getaway driver. And then as they get away, Taylor Kitsch looks at the evidence, says, "We got a bunch of contracts with a lot of signatures," meaning a lot of people are in trouble. and it is just awesome. Fantastic episode. I would score it a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it almost is. It was just a phenomenal episode. I really, really enjoyed this episode much more than I enjoyed episode 5. Episode 5 was good, but this was just a fantastic episode. Now, what do I want to see from here on out? I want to see more of Colin Farrell snapping and killing people like that. I love that in his character. I love his anger, his edge, his rage. Fantastic. I want to see more from Rachel McAdams' past now. I want it to get dark. Was she kidnapped? Did this guy rape her over and over again? Did he rape her once and get out? That's kind of what I want to know. I don't want to see it, but I want to know. And then if you want to know, you kind of have to see it. The way they tell the story, it's not like real life, so it's kind of it's edgy, but I just want to know. They didn't delve into this. The last 3 things are just repeats from what I said I wanted to see more of from here on out, from episode 5 and on now, from after episode 6. They need to delve into Taylor Kitsch's homosexuality. They're getting closer to the end, and they have to open up about it. They can't just leave it as it is. They need to go in depth about it, and they need to cover it. And we need to see Vince Vaughn kill someone. I want to see him kill someone. He's getting more intense. He's getting more doing this. He tortured a guy, but he didn't torture him. He got his guy to torture him. I want to see Vince Vaughn with his own 2 hands kill someone. That is what I want to see. And of course, the bubbling, the explosion. I want to see it. The Vince Vaughn versus Colin Farrell standoff. We need it. I want to see it so badly. Now, I'm going to wrap up this podcast with just question to answer in the comments below. Now, Mickey has done one 2 minutes or less thing. Now, I'm going to cover sports with my 2 minutes or less. Now, right now it's baseball season, and it's in the middle of the season, so it's not, the trade deadline's coming up, but there's not a lot going on as far as sports. I can't talk about MMA, which goes on yearly. What do you guys want to see me talk about as far as sports? I can talk about, honestly, almost any sports. Not really know much about tennis. Not super huge into golf. Not super huge into soccer. I like those 2 sports, but not really super huge into them. I know stuff about baseball. It's not my most well-known. But once football, hockey, and basketball start, I'm really into those 3 sports. So I can really dive deep into them. And I'm really into MMA. So if you guys want me to do 2 minutes or less on MMA, let me know, and I will get those out for you guys. Just let me know in the comments which of those you want to see, and I'll try and get it out for you guys, because I've been slack-a-lacking. But as far as the main sports other than MMA, there's the ones that I'm really into. Not a lot going on right now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. 3 guys in a basement -2 solo dolo Brandon episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.